I tried to be very nice to Globe over the years. I said, look, but I wouldn't do this.
Please support this channel by subscribing and leaving comments.
Distinguished speaker. I believe he heard about the subject December 3rd of 1956 and has been on the track of the Sasquatch ever since. Part of what we know here in North America about the Sasquatch phenomenon is largely the result of his bringing this information to the public sector. He's investigated several times down at the Patterson-Gimlin film site. In 1972 or 1973, along with Don Hunter, he published his first book, Sasquatch. He's very meticulous in his investigations. He says exactly what he thinks. He's Swiss German, and I guess he was born in Europe, and over there they have a saying that if you start something, you complete it also. So he's continuing to look for answers on this problem. We'd like to introduce Renee Dahinden from Richmond, British Columbia, who will be talking about reports of the wild men in Russia.
Wrong. I was supposed to talk about the wild man in Russia, my little trip over there in 71, 72, 5 weeks in Moscow. Certain things have happened in the meantime, and I decided I'm here to slaughter somebody. But to start, there's some newspaper clippings here. I came to Canada 26th of October 1953. On the 3rd of December, I heard about the Daily Mail newspaper in England on the radio, CBC radio, evening news, that they're going to form an expedition to go to the Himalayas looking for the abominable snowman. I said to the dairy farmer I worked for, west of Calgary, I said, gee, wouldn't that be something to go on a trip like this? And he said, they got something like it in British Columbia. From then on, I pestered the hell out of him. But he didn't know very much about it. 1954, I came to BC. I asked around a little bit, 55, did a little more. And in 1956, according to this clipping, it's June the 14th, so it might be June the 10th, was the first time I came to Harrison Hot Springs. So I consider that this is really the time of the beginning. Do you know how long that is? That's 40 years. That's longer than most of you in here, many of them are alive. Many of them you here weren't adults then. You know what 40 years means? When I started in 1956, the Sasquatch was an Indian legend down here at the Chehalis Indian Reservation. A few stories here and there. The Ruby Creek Report, I mean, the odd little magazine article, nothing was known about the Sasquatch. I mean, we didn't know that they had one of them down in Washington and Oregon. Never mind California or any place else in North America. So I started out, talk about being naive, talk about being gullible, and like all beginners, I knew they had a migration route across the Fraser River on mile 12 up from Bridal Falls after a short time, I knew all about it. Of course, the older you get, the more you learn to know it just doesn't work that way. But I made all the mistakes that have been made. And I learned, not like some people. And I'm a very practical person. I have no degrees, I have no PhD, thanks God for that. I started out with a blank mind. Now you can leave a blank or you can fill it. It's true. When you start out with a PhD, you only got about 60 strikes against you. Because you know all about it. Instead of starting out with a blank mind and then slowly fill it, very selective, very critical and analytical. So I am fortunate in this that all the information which came in, and you haven't got a clue how much there is, was dribbled into my head drop by drop by drop, so I could absorb it. If anybody in the last 10, 15 years starts out on this, he doesn't have a damn chance. For the very simple reason that there is so much of it, such a huge pile of stuff, which you can't absorb, because when you dig around here trying to absorb this, there's already more being dumped on top of you. As I told Danny here, I said, look, you're making a grave mistake running all across North America, digging around, getting involved with sightings here, there, and all over. Today, if you want to be somebody, concentrate on this one state and be an expert on every report in California, and that's a hell of a job. Just so you know about every sighting, you dig around down there, you investigate every report, stay in like a hunter. There are hunters who run all over hell's half bloody acre, and the other guy goes to the same place year after year after year, and the longer you go in, the more you will learn, till it gets to the point you say on November the 12th, I go out there and pop up a deer, because that's where they are. That's the same with reports. You can't absorb this damn stuff. You just can't absorb it anymore. And furthermore, I don't do Sasquatch research when my job allows it, my wife and kids, my dog, my car payment, and all that crap. That all went down by the wayside. And I focused total, absolute. I don't think there was a day in this 40 years when I didn't think about Sasquatch. I have a job where I don't have to think. I just do it. It helps a lot. So, as I tell the guys, if you would have to pay me for my thinking, you couldn't afford me. Big joke. So, I take the sighting reports, I dissect it. What you think today, I probably thought about it, threw it out, dissected, shortened it out like a butcher, and ended up with what I thought is reasonable. So, Grover Krantz says I do 10% of my time. Yeah, well, with his little brain, that's not very much. But, and the major fault in this research is that if you want to know something, you have to concentrate. If you want to be an expert on Operation Barbarossa when Germany went into Poland and into Russia, you damn well can't also read fiction or something. You have to, either you're a historian who concentrates on certain things. That's what this is all about. If you don't, you pick this and this and this and this, and you come up with wild statements. So what I'm going to do today, I heard everybody talking about this goddamn Grover Krantz. I am fed up.
Hey, Renee, if you're going to talk against somebody, you should talk against somebody who's here, not against people who are not able to defend themselves.
In court, if you have documents, I'm going to quote Grover Krantz. I'm not doing behind his back. He knows. he's smoking over there, smoke coming out of his ears. I'm going to quote his book, his statements in the press, just like the O.J. Simpson trials. I'm going to present the evidence right to the end. And I'm going to convict them.
They didn't convict O.J.
I tried to be very nice to Grove over the years. I said, look, but I wouldn't do this. I'm not such a nasty guy, you know. But this guy is so condescending, so totally egomaniac, that I have to kick him. I can't help myself. That's why the woman made this draft. He wrote her didn't say that, a very condescending letter. Just like, hey, I'm Grover. Who the hell are you? So anyway, it has not only chopping this guy down, I'm going to chop down untold so-called evidence. Total, absolute, if you want to see the truth, and factual. If you want to live in the dream world, well, ignore it. I made a little poster, very nasty. Here. I thought was appropriate. Above.
Now he's posting that 2 years ago, Grover Krantz was here. Renee Dahinden also gave a presentation about the 87 tracks from Walla Walla, at which time Grover Krantz did not question, respond, or say anything about it. So even if he were here today, more than likely he would not say anything. So let's continue on.
Okay. I'm not debating opinions. I'm debating evidence. And in order to, look, as Barbara said, in order to understand, I concentrate a large amount of my effort. Well, as I go down the road, we have an incredible information service among ourselves. You haven't got a clue. When somebody wipes his nose in Vermont, we know about it. If he's involved in this research. Stacks of material, computer forms, just like the KGB, FBI, and USSS, who banged the Secret Service all rolled in one. So, you know, so we are not sitting here making up our opinion because we don't like this guy. There are many people out there I really don't like, but they do good investigations. So you pat them on the back for that. You know. In order, I'm not talking about the citing reports, because Barbara says, I mean, there are good people, bad people, some, but what I find is bad in this research, and damn it, instead of getting better, it gets worse day by damn day. It's the researchers who are pushing their own little agenda. I don't know what the hell it is with some of them. Their own little, they want to prove this or that or peddle some other ideas instead of, you know, stick with it. So I found, since this is a huge country, if you want to know about sightings in Michigan, in Indiana, Northern California, here and there, and this person or that person investigated them, you want to know, just like a police officer, if you investigate a crime and you have other fellow officers, you don't want some choker around you who takes one look at something and jumps to a conclusion and trying to convict somebody, and you then have to go and clean up his damn mess. You want to know if that person is reliable. You know, if you can trust him with his thing. So let me talk about Grover Krantz. And I really till a few hours ago, I didn't know what the hell to do, but certain things have happened now, which are just mind-boggling. Grover Krantz appeared on the scene. Roger Patterson made this movie. Grover went and saw him. Someplace 68, 69 in there. Patterson told me Grover came and Grover went on a television program with him or two. And Grover immediately told Roger that the film was real. And Roger said to me, I forgot where it was, someplace in the Yakima, Bossburg, wherever. He said, boy, that guy is gullible. He came, he saw it, and he announced it real, without any further question. 1970 came along. Remember this December 69 footprints, the Bossburg tracks? I was there. I did the investigation. I covered up some of these tracks, actually 3 of them. When Grover came, there were 1 of them there. He came, he saw the track, which I covered up, went home, and talked to the newspaper, told them all he knew. That was in January. In March, they published a 4-page article of Grover's conclusion. You know? And then he went home and wrote a scientific paper about it. He already then called it Gigantopithecus. He already, you see, very important. I think the guy was looking for something, and he already, right at the very beginning, he made up his mind that whatever the hell this is, it's Gigantopithecus. And because the newspaper accounts. Then, that was in the spring of 1970. Marx found handprints in 70, in the summer. Grover came, declared them real. They were fakes, blatant fakes. Grover made a movie, Marx made a movie that fall. Grover came, declared it real. 71 came along. Remember Arden? Remember Arden? Ray Pickens? Hip-hop through the tulips with 3 fake tracks? February 25th, 71. Who do you guess made scientific announcements? So far, said Krantz, the hunter had been identifying the tracks of 5 different individuals. The new tracks are from what he believes the 6th individual. Now there were the Bossburg tracks, 3 picking tracks, that makes 4. Maybe the guy can't count. And anyway, down here he says something to the effect, we call them the Gang of 4. Talking about the Hunter film, he said the Hunter film, which he has yet been released, probably shows an incredible big human-like shape with brown and dark hair and heavily developed muscles, shoulders and muscles, arms. You know? So they were faked. Remember the Frank White film?
1977.
1977? Krantz went there too, and there probably I missed 20 of them in between. I'm leading up to what has happened. 1977, October I think it was. That was a story which nobody knows. How Frank White got in touch with me. Anyway, Frank White, him and his wife danced around the bush in a gorilla suit and filmed Bigfoot. Krantz came along. And he wasn't shy. He even wrote a letter, January the 17th, 1975. I'm one of these guys that collect everything, you know? Oh, here he says, there are 3 possibilities. Someone walked by in a fursuit to fool you. You arranged the hoax. It was a Sasquatch. There are problems with all 3. After reviewing the object, blah, 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 I will personally lean in favor of the authenticity of the film showing a real Sasquatch. He even says that you can make copies and send them all to your friends. So he fell in for another fake. We already more or less established that it was fake. Frank White says he filmed it on Mount Baker. Well, Frank White filmed it on the Lummi Indian Reservation. Cliff Cook and I went there. Cliff Cook found the shop where the first suit was rented. We went down, looked at the damn rented camera before we even announced anything. But there was Grover again. Remember 78? When Frank White gave his little speech, Grover Krantz snuck out the back because he was ashamed. The hell with it, I'm doing it. As Mao Zedong says, if you destroy somebody, destroy him total. I found the other day in my file a letter. I got so much stuff that sometimes I find stuff and say, what the hell is this here? Stuff I don't even know I have anymore. Someplace along the line, Roger Patterson gave me a copy of this letter, written by Grover Krantz. September the 22nd, 1970. You can look at it, convert the signature, take it to the FBI, wherever the hell you want to test it. Here he says, in 1953, I first heard about the reports of this giant man-like creature in western North America. Now, you know, 1953, I don't know. But what really blew my mind, September 1970. Thus far, I have examined plaster casts of footprints of 17 different individuals, of 17 different Sasquatch. Observed and cast one print myself, fine, and have seen photographs of tracks and track casts of at least 50 more. The way I read it and everybody else studied, by September 22nd, 1970, he examined the tracks of 67 Sasquatch. Right? I doubt if we even had cast of 10 of them at the time. What is this? What really burns me up is, in his book, quote, and quote, and quote, but I have this basic personality fault of being honest. I read that I don't know how many damn times in his book. That guy sounds like Nixon. You know, if you think I'm nasty, it's a long time coming. So that's all fine, okay. You know, I'm not nitpicking. I'm really a nasty guy. When I read the book, I read it again and again and again. I use 2 highlighter pens in here to highlight all the insanity. So we all talked to Grover, you know, like to talk to him. Just, you know. 89, well, that's later, let's start. Then Freeman came along. That's what I'm leading up to. 10th of what, July, 92, June?
May, June.
June.
82.
Freeman was, this Paul Freeman Downwaller was hired as a temporary, not as a Forest Service, temporary patrolman to patrol the border of the watershed, either on horseback or by pickup, checking so nobody goes in there and camps or whatever. Nonsense, you know. But anyway, and no sooner was he on the damn job, he saw Bigfoot. Barbara there was probably the first one who talked to him. He saw it one day. Somebody else phoned me that night. I phoned Barbara because she was close. She went there 2 or 3 days later. She phoned me back. She interviewed Freeman. She interviewed Wes Summerlin and told me.
If you're enjoying all this rare and unique content, please show your support by subscribing and leaving comments.